1. Welcome to the Clifton Joseph podcast. We do the wrap up on the Raptors games here and there. I got my man, two OGs from back in the day and the game, Mike Solomon and Jude Kelly. And tonight we have a special guest all the way from the nation's capital, my man, poet, saxophonist, strategist, exemplary dude in the artistic game that moves things forward, John Sobol. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, nice to be here.
Hello, hello.
Raptor.
I got to say, the Raptors win 125-122 in probably the most exasperating Raptors game I've ever been involved in. I got so disinterested in the first quarter. The second quarter, I just went off and did all kind of other things. Don't want to talk about them right now, but you know, we can talk about it after. And so exasperated with the coach, the players, Lowry and Siakam, and until Serge came in. This, though, dispelled for me my own misgivings with the Raptors. And they came back and won this game in one of the most illuminating games I have seen in a long time. It was like a dogfight, as they say, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was a thriller in Manila. It was all of this. Gentlemen, what was this game to you? How did you see it? Jude, you always defer to Michael. So Michael.
Okay.
Somebody?
I thought you deferred to Michael.
Michael defers to John. John defers to me. So, ladies, who's got something
I can
to say?
talk. Jeez, you know what? It was. I was getting a little exasperated with the coaching this game here. I thought that Nick Nurse, for the first time, was playing really conservative. I don't know why we didn't see Serge in there in the fourth quarter, because Boston was running that, Daniel Tice, alley-oop play to death, and we had no answer for that. I mean, Anunoby is a great defender, but he can't guard a big like that. I thought that Siakam could have used some more rest, because he was a liability at various times, although he did hit one big shot there in the second overtime. All told, though, I mean, it was a gutty Toronto win, and really frustrating for Boston. You could see the frustration after the game, that they felt that they actually should have won the game.
Yes.
I have a little stat here that in Boston's 3 victories, they've won the 3 victories over Toronto by a total of 43 points. Toronto's 3 victories, we've won by combined 11 points. So that kind of messes with your head. As a player, you're saying, we're dominating these guys. We have kicked.
You've kicked Jude. You're out. Michael, as Jude was saying.
I gotta do something quickly. Give me a sec, guys.
What? Jude, as you were saying, you flipped out for a moment.
Oh, yeah, my connection was on. Yeah, did you guys get the points I was making in Boston's 3 victories? They've won by a total of 43.
Can you just repeat it, though?
Yeah, sure. An interesting stat here is that Boston's 3 victories, they've beaten Toronto by a combined total of 43 points, where Toronto's 3 victories won by a total of 11. And as a player, that kind of messes with you as a team, because you're saying, here we are, we played this team 6 times, we have dominated them twice, kicked their butts convincingly 2 games. They got a Hail Mary to win 1 game. It could have legitimately been a sweep. Here we are now going into a game 7, and we had a couple guys have career games. Jaylen Brown played fantastic. Marcus Smart played sensational, and yet they lose. So they're wondering, what do we have to do? Maybe they're saying Toronto is a team of destiny. Toronto is doing just enough to win each game, or the games that count. And this double overtime, which I don't think we've ever had a double overtime in the playoffs in our history before. Big win for the Raptors.
Michael, you've been in those kind of pressurized situations yourself before. What about the psychology of going in with Boston, for instance? Because I concur with Jude that they looked a little bit flummoxed. They look like they're pissed with themselves, and somehow we're in their head. What about the psychologics of that? Not just for them, but also for the Raptors on the other end, going into the next game.
You know what? The Raptors' stats be damned. In a game like that, it's a dog fight. And we had our dog. Kyle Lowry was our dog.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Lowry.
Bow, wow, wow, yippee-yi, yippee-yo.
We had to just rally behind our dog and take it to the finish line. It was an exhilarating game. Toronto, in this game, Nurse really showed his coaching genius this game. He went to the small ball, which is what really took us over the top.
He put Anunoby at 5.
Yeah, the only thing I would have liked to see Pascal sit and Serge come in at some parts of that fourth quarter. Right? I would have liked to see Serge in there instead of Pascal.
What about the psychology, though, of going into the next game in terms of the momentum we talked about the last time?
We have all the momentum right now. We really have all the momentum, and our dog is out. I mean, we've never played like this before. This is the first time we've played like that. That's what I'm saying, the genius of Nurse. We went small. We came tenacious, man. It was beautiful basketball. It was nice to see. Nurse had to be stretched to his maximum point to pull out this genius. It was beautiful. Great basketball. Great coaching.
John,
we hit some shots, too.
John, we've been pretty critical of Nick Nurse in the last couple of games, saying that he's been coaching conservative. He's almost had a second coming of Casey. What did you see from Nurse tonight and from the team itself? And also, before you even get to that, just the tumultuousness of this game, the back and forth, the second overtime, 2 overtimes. I thought I lost about 4 pounds. I don't know about you. What did you go through psychologically as a longtime Raptors fan, and where we are with this game going into the next?
Oh.
Answer any of those 18 questions you want to. We can't hear you, John. We can't hear you. Your vocals.
I've been talking the whole time. I didn't even realize you couldn't hear me.
Dig. Start again.
So amazing game. You don't usually get a chance when you miss a game-winning opportunity at the buzzer of regulation, and then you get a game-winning opportunity at the buzzer of the first overtime, both of which we had those shots right at the end. Missed them both, and we still came back and put ourselves in the position to win the game at the end. I think it's kind of amazing that when it came down to each little mini conclusion, because there were kind of 3 conclusions to that game, we essentially won all 3 of them. And I think that is about the guttiness of the team, and the mental toughness is intense. And Lowry is the fucking mental madman. I mean, he's ferocious. But Nick Nurse, my problem with Nurse is I believe that the thing I've been unhappy with him this whole playoffs is a lot of the reason that we succeeded this year is we had the deepest team in the league. And, you know, at this point, he clearly didn't want to use guys like Rondé or Terrence Davis.
Boucher.
Or Boucher, because they haven't had a chance to play all playoffs. So, you know, he's not going to put him in overtime in a do or die situation, but he should have been playing them all playoffs so that we had more guys to draw on, because there's some talented dudes and they have different skill sets, different sizes, different looks. We could have been throwing different things out there, but he put himself in a corner there. And I think to me, that's been a mistake. So there's that. But as far as looking ahead, I think probably Boston's got to be a bit rattled. You know, they got to feel a certain amount of pressure here. The Raptors keep putting them on the ropes when they think they're winning. They think they've got it made, and the Raptors come out and just, you know, beat them down again. And I agree. I think that must be frustrating. I think that they don't like us. Like they don't like the way we're playing. We're playing in that kind of junkyard dog way that isn't, we're not, we don't have any superstars, and it seems like we're not hitting any shots, and yet we still end up winning. And they've got some really great players who, they hit at one point 4 straight threes in the fourth quarter, and it looked like we were going to just get wiped out, but we come back, and Lowry hit a couple of huge shots after that. But we don't have the stars doing the fancy stuff. One guy who's supposed to be a big star, Siakam's just been a disaster. But still, we do enough, and we win all the little battles. I think it must be pissing them off like crazy.
Absolutely.
And I think they're probably coming into the next game feeling with a lot of frustration and anxiety, whereas the Raptors kind of I bet they feel like we got them where we want them. They're
on top of the world in the penthouse, moving on up like George Jefferson and his family. Jude, you've always said that you think that if the plays went differently in most of the games, that the Raptors would probably have swept Boston. You said Raptors in 6, but we're at 6 now, so we're going to 7, as Michael had predicted. What do we have to do now, Jude? We've seen the coach. He's limited his rotation. He's not gone deep. He's not gone even as deep as Boston. Sometimes I think he's gotten out-coached by Boston. Is this a coach's game or a player's game coming up as an ex-player yourself for Game 7? And we saw, for instance, that interaction between Lowry when he jumped all over Nick Nurse, Night Nurse Nick, for calling that timeout at the end of the game there.
That was a mistake on the coach's part, because with 0.5 seconds left, Boston had conceded the game. They were walking off the court and was going to allow Toronto just to inbound the ball and run out the clock. But what Nick Nurse potentially could have caused was the referees to take a look at the replay and overrule the call in the court and give the ball back to Boston with 0.5 seconds left. So fortunately, the replay confirmed in our favor, but it could have easily been the other way. And that could have easily been, and it should have been avoided. We didn't need to have a timeout. Coach should have been aware that the Boston players, after the ball was out of bounds and the referee had signaled Toronto ball, they were walking back toward their bench. Game over.
I don't know if you're watching the ESPN or the Canadian broadcast. I was watching the ESPN one, and
I was watching the ESPN one. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lowry. It was interesting because I totally agree it was a mistake, but he addressed that very directly, which I thought was pretty cool. Just said that was nothing. Like, don't read anything into that. Yeah,
it's just frustration. But Clifton, I think you asked what we have to do. I believe if we can continue to contain Kemba Walker. Kemba, 5 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. That's got to be a career playoff low for him. I look for him to come out with some energy in the next game. I'm happy to see Marc Gasol contribute offensively finally and defensively. Norman Powell stepped up with a big game, 23 points. Siakam is still struggling, but hey, he can turn it all around with a big Game 7 and a win for us if he plays well.
And to give Nick his credit, the boxing one really worked on Kemba. Of course, Tatum got off, but you have to contain one of those 3 guys, I think. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kemba. You got to shut one of them down. And that was a strategy that I was frustrated with at the beginning, because it opens up for Tice and for Marcus Smart. I've always said that we make a mistake of deliberately not defending the threes. Because when you have hot players, Marcus Smart has killed us in this series. To tell you the truth, I think he's the key player that's actually had Boston in this series. Yeah. If we cut off his threes in all of those games, we win those games, y'all.
Yeah, possibly.
Michael, what about the coaching? What about utilizing the bench? What about, let's deal with, we give him his props, Night Nurse Nick, but we also have to hold him accountable. how is he being more like Casey and himself? Is he Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of basketball now? Because he seems to be coaching innovatively and at the same time conservatively. Is he the Latter-day Saint of Lenny Wilkins?
No, I wouldn't say so. He is finding his way. He's quite unique as a coach, and he's finding his way. I mean, he's made his mistakes like it's the first 4 games. I mean, the way he was coaching is we expect more from him. But now with this adversity, we see what he has.
What was he doing wrong and right?
Well, like not coaching in the moment. You know, like for us to go small ball this evening, you know, that was coaching in the moment. We are desperate. We got to win this game. I have to pull something under my belt, and he pulled it out.
John, your assessment in terms of some of your key players tonight. Lowry, of course, didn't they call him the dog of Bay Street at one point? Was that one of his nicknames? Anyway, Lowry.
Lowry has gotten one thing I think that probably this year has done, even though he's had a couple here and there games in the series, even in this series where he hasn't shot well, but he has taken so much flack over the years, you know, for the bogus rep of him not being a good playoff performer. And even in general, I thought it was very interesting. They said, Mark Jackson said tonight, quoting, I think, Brad Stevens, saying that Lowry was the most underrated player in the NBA. And just so on the point of the playoff, the myth of him being a playoff choker, I mean, this year you see it's so clear how he's able to impact the game in so many ways. And he's such a consistently winning player. I think that one thing is that hopefully that whole myth of him being a choker in some way gets put to rest. Like
tonight, he was a choker. Back in the day,
he had a couple bad years. One of which he was injured. He had one year that he was injured badly. You know, he had a bursitis on his elbow. You see the pictures from back then. He's got a huge lump on his elbow, and he shot terribly. But he was already shooting terribly that year at the end of the year because he had a big injury. Most guys would have taken the playoffs.
That was what you're talking about?
What's that?
Elbow?
Yeah, his elbow. That was 1 year, and he was
taking another charge. He's gotten better at it since.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not saying he's been great always, but the last number of years he's been terrific in the playoffs, and I just think that this year, hopefully, that gets completely put to rest. Because, man, what a player!
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, I concur. Jude, talk to us about Anunoby and Powell. What did they contribute tonight?
Well, Anunoby hit another big shot in that second overtime.
Powell that guy got big cojones, don't he?
You're right, he does. Powell, his best game of the series, and he had energy. He hit all his free throws. The small ball, he defended well. Those guys played great. And John made a good point earlier about Kyle Lowry might have had a reputation in the past. In fact, he did have a reputation. But I chalked it up to the DeRozan effect. I think Lowry's reputation as of last year is as a winner, as a gutty, hard-nosed player, and he's proven that this year. I'm looking forward to Game 7. I just see that they've now announced a 9 p.m. game Friday night, so that puts us in prime time and gives us a little bit more rest.
Mm-hmm. Yes, baby.
Gives us a little bit more rest, and Boston is, I believe, spooked at this team. They feel probably they should have won earlier, but yet here we keep coming back like a bad rash, Clifton, and it's just there. And They know that some of these rashes, when you get them, they never go away.
Because can I just jump in there? If you think about it, the Raptors have been winning the must-win games going back to last year now. I mean, how many in a row? The ones against Philly, the ones against Milwaukee, the ones against Golden State. And now this year, 2 games against Boston. The Game 3 wasn't technically an elimination game, but we all know it essentially was because no one's ever come back 3 down. So Boston had that game to take complete dominant control and basically guarantee victory. And they lost it, and the Raps win. They had this game to win the series. They lost it. So that's twice that in this very series, the Raps have beaten them at the most crucial games. And so, A, the Raps have been doing it, and B, Boston has not been doing it, and they've not been doing it even in this very series. So in terms of levels of confidence about ability to win the big game, so far the Raps are actually 2 for 2 in this series of the most crucial games. And
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Michael, you've always berated Gasol for the last number of podcasts, right? In fact, you think that the coach is doing a disservice to the team by not giving his minutes to, especially to Chris Boucher. Tonight, though, he hit some threes. Could it be then, to come to Gasol's defense, that maybe he's just hit a wall from all of the work he had to do last year, and that he just had a little glip in the blitz, and now he's coming back? Or you think he's done it? Because sometimes he's looked real old in this series here. What is your reassessment of Gasol after tonight's performance?
Reassessment, no reassessment. Thank goodness that he showed up for a quarter. I was so happy. I was elated. I was making all kinds of noise in here, man. I was so happy. You know, I'm glad to see him have that kind of game. We want our guys to succeed. But let me tell you something. I could have kissed him tonight, man. Let me tell you. You know,
You played great.
That's playoff basketball, though. That's playoff basketball. That's what that's the energy Kyle brings to this team. You know, that great year. And Van Vliet was like a sheet covering Kemba for the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't give him a second. That's who he did some work on defense tonight.
Because the thing I'm still amazed at, right, is that I've been saying, why is Van Vliet and Tatum? Why is Kyle and Jaylen Brown? These dudes, I'm taller than Kyle, I'm taller than Van Vliet. And they look, sometimes Van Vliet is on what's his name there, Tice, who's 7 foot whatever. So
those guys are incredible. Their ability to defend guys much larger than them is surely the best in the league at that. Probably Marcus Smart's the only other guy who can do that. I mean, I know statistically they're way up there. They've got great hands, so they do a lot of disrupting of the ball, and they've got great ability to move and stay ahead of guys, and they're strong as hell. And they got really low kind of center of gravity. So I think that even though the other guys are stronger and bigger, that they can't move them that easily. And so they only really beat them when they get ahead of steam going. And even then, it's pretty hard to get around Kyle Lowry.
It's easier for the big guys to really beat Kyle and Van Vliet out high.
Yeah.
But down low, our guys got good strength, good upper body, so they can body him. When it comes to hands, who's got quicker hands than Kyle and Van Vliet?
mm-hmm.
I think Van Vliet might have the fastest hands in the league right now.
He led the league in deflections. He led the league in deflections this year.
And up there with steals, too.
Yeah.
I love the way he played the game. He just dedicated his game to the defensive side, you know, and came true in his other ways as well.
Jude, who's playing the best in this series between
team win? This was a team win. This was a great team win. And although we didn't go deep into the bench, we altered it so that we went small ball, which was the key to the game, in my opinion. You know, so that's why I have to give Nurse his props. That was fantastic, you know.
Because he dug back into that innovative part of himself.
Oh yeah.
Jekyll versus
his
Mr.
hair was
Hyde
all
part.
over the place. His hair was all, you know, scattered, and you know, he was sweating up and pacing. You know.
Jude, who impressed you more tonight? Because Boston, Tatum was one or two shy of a double-double, a triple-double?
Tatum?
Yes.
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, though time is not on our side, so quickly, if you will, 10 seconds apiece. What about the next game? What's going to happen for the next game? Your prediction, quickly.
Well, I look for Toronto to win. I look for Boston to come out flat and Toronto to jump all over them and move on to take on Miami and beat Miami to advance to the Eastern Final. So I'm calling Toronto by 9 on Friday night.
Michael, are we going to fuck them up?
Basically, that's what we're gonna do. We gotta. Kyle has to lead us. We go where Kyle goes.
John,
We
what do
win
you
the
say,
next
bro?
game.
You know, even though I said that Boston's going to be worried and everything, I'm predicting that it's going to be a game a lot like tonight, and that we're going to come out and shoot like shit in the beginning, like we keep doing. But we're going to claw and fight our way back, and we're going to take it in the end. That's my prediction.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. This has been the Clifton Joseph podcast. Please subscribe. You know what I'm saying? And coming soon, donate. Subscribe, like, share. It's cool. Jude Kelly, Michael Solomon, and John, special guest John Sobol, all the way from Ottawa, the nation's capital. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Yes.